Hey, what's going on, guys? So, by now, all of you should know that a majority of my new content is now over on Black Avenger TV and BitChute. I still put some of my content here on YouTube, but as I said in a community post, it would be really fucking nice if I didn't have to promote every video um, that I have over there through ScrewTube, because the goal is to become completely independent and detached from being reliant on YouTube to do anything, including promote my videos. But yeah, I mean that's gonna rely solely on you guys that call yourselves my loyal supporters. You know, it's really going to be up to you whether or not Black Avenger rises or falls. There's enough of us content creators over there now that, I mean, it's pretty much a done deal, except for uh, the people that are willing to come and watch our content over there. And I'm not asking for financial donations more than I'm asking for your undivided attention over there, because that's what we need. We need as many boots on the ground over there as possible, and the rest will follow. You know, that's how all of these little social media platforms that white people started, including Facebook and this YouTube, that's how they began. They began, one tiny step at a time, one view at a time. So yeah, guys, the future and the fate of Black social media, no matter what we do as content creators, no matter what of us content creators go over there, is going to rely solely on you guys, and you know where your loyalties really stand. And if you're sincere about um supporting content, the content creators that you say that you know say that you like. So yeah. Anyway, I wanted to make this video right quick. Many of you may recall that I did a video about this Insta butt thought model. I forget her name. I think it was Elise something. I don't feel like looking it up, but I was talking about how she committed suicide in 2016, March of 2016, and her family, they refused to accept the fact that she had killed herself, and they were saying that the pills by her bedside were, somebody poisoning her. And I said that's highly unlikely. You know, I mean, what are they going to do? Hold her down and force the pills down her throat? So, investigators, police were looking at it as likely suicide. And in that video, I pointed out how voluptuous the woman was physically. Looks like she had gotten, maybe that was a natural ass, but I know a lot of these Black females, they're getting these Botox butt injections and breast implants like the white girls. And, she just, in spite of that, in spite of having a few tens of thousands of followers on Instagram, she wasn't happy with her life. When I kind of go back to that story and I look into her eyes, I see very clearly that, there was some sadness there. And fast forward to now, recently, as some of you know, Hollywood actress Taraji P. Henson, who's now a veteran in that industry, if you can actually call it an industry, she has decided to step up to the plate, and she testified before Congress, the Black Caucus to be exact, about the issues of mental health in the Black community. And I even though, I think a lot of the characters that she's played are, fucking goofy, and she's played a lot of ratchet characters, that baby boy, I finally got around to watching that movie, and it's been out for almost 20 years, and I just watched it for the first time this year, and it was just a thumbs down to me. I mean, it was just too much emotion. But what's so frightening about that movie is it's an accurate depiction of how these niggas act towards one another and with themselves. But anyway, she decided to testify before Congress, to bring awareness to something that those of us enlightened brothers have already been pointing out for the last 3 to 5 years here in the so-called Black manosphere. Um, I've made several videos about this, starting, I believe, early last year. Where I talked about the amount of mental illness on the ground in the ghettos and the inner cities of Chicago, my hometown. Um, I have uh, made it my business to make a note that there is a lot of mental deficiency, what I call cerebral fuckery, going on in Black America. And I mean everything from hyper narcissism to schizophrenia to anxiety, depression. Anxiety is a huge thing in the Black community, and it is a mental illness. Depression amongst Black men, but also Black women, is huge in the so-called Black community. There's a lot of crazy people. There's a lot of people who are schizophrenic in the Black community. You see them on the street talking to themselves. Some of that is crack rock, but not all of it. Some of that people, and sometimes the drugs literally drive them fucking insane. But other times, it's just things that they've gone through traumatically, being abused, physically, sexually, verbally, um, mentally. I know even in my family, there's a particular female in my family, you know, she obviously has some mental issues, and she won't admit it. She won't admit it, and I noticed just from what goes on in my family alone, for as long as I've been alive to experience it and see it, that admitting to mental illness, for some reason, us as Black people, one of our main downfalls is that we cannot be real with ourselves, and we cannot be real with one another. All this, I'm a grown ass man, I'm the king of these streets, I'm strong, Black, and independent, I'm most educated, I'm most desirable. We're crying and we're suffering on the inside. I'm talking about a lot of these dysfunctional niggas, but we try to show ourselves as, an immovable object on the outside. And unfortunately for us, as we've seen in the news, especially with a lot of these Black females getting knocked upside their head, getting straight up murked, in these relationships with these thugs, and even some of these white dudes, and even killing themselves, and it's even passing down to their children, where we're seeing children as young as 5 and 6 and 8 and 9 years old, mainly girls, killing themselves. It's obvious that veneer, that front, that Black people, particularly Black women, put on, that we're hard, and we're hardcore, and we're immovable. The world is starting to be able to see right through that. And a lot of people, not enough yet, but there are a lot of people that are starting to come to terms with, after 50 years of this shit just ain't working. Okay? It's time to be real about the situation, come forward and tell the truth, about ourselves. That, there are a lot of people that are, they have mental problems. They need help, and not just medicated, I mean, they need counseling. And it's just like the no snitch policy in Black America. I guess that comes from the harsh history that some of it, a lot of it is just plain stupidity and fake false pride and ego, but some of it does come from the hard history that we've had in this society and in this country, that we feel like we cannot, there's no part of us where we can show weakness, kind of like one of those old Italian mob movies, watching shit like Godfather and Goodfellas. You would have thought those guys never sat in a fucking corner somewhere and cried, were never scared or any of that shit. And at the end of the day, they were nothing but human beings, and that was proven when the feds got a hold of them Guido motherfuckers and, you know, started putting the pressure on them to give up to give up their boys and the organized crime ring, and they started singing like canaries because they didn't want to do life in prison or worse. So at the end of the day, Taraji P. Henson as an actress, not impressed, but her as an activist, I have to give her some credit for being a black woman to come forward and say, I have mental problems. I've suffered with mental issues. This is a problem in the black community. It's something that doesn't get paid attention to enough, but it's something that we need to tackle, because a lot of this shit, um, you see these black bimbos on social media all the time, and a lot of these niggas too. It's clearly from the way they talk to the way they spell things to the shit that they put on social media. I saw this shit. I'm gonna share it with you guys pretty soon. This bitch talking about she's the deep throat queen. Some black female, she's on social media, on Facebook, bragging about sucking the best dick. And then when you click on her profile, you see 2 or 3 small children. Clearly, this is someone who's mentally ill. Their self-esteem and their sense of self-worth is fractured. And so they're trying to make up for that by over sexualizing themselves, advertising themselves as, a whore, when in any other society that would be frowned upon, that would be looked down upon, but in our society, it's, because everything's so ass backwards, and because we don't deal with our issues, including, the vast amount of mental illness in everybody from children to old folks in the black community. It festers, and we've accepted the abnormal, like a Cardi B, who is also very clearly mentally ill, as normal, you know. So yeah, guys, let me just read just part of this article as a reference point to what I'm talking about here. Says Taraji P. Henson is working to break down the stigma surrounding mental health, especially in black communities. The Empire actress spoke before the Congressional Black Caucus Emergency Task Force on Black Youth Suicide and Mental Health on Friday to emphasize the need for more mental health counselors and education in schools. Quote, "It breaks my heart to know that 5-year-old children are contemplating life and death," Henson said to Congress per E! News. Quote, I'm sorry. That one is tough for me. So I'm here to appeal to you because this is a national crisis. When I hear of kids going into bathrooms, cutting themselves, you're supposed to feel safe in school." She added that mental health care should be integrated into school curriculum. If we can teach children about sex education and physical education, why not mental, she says. That's where we start attacking the issue with the children. Says suicide rates are on the rise in the U.S. A recent study published in JAMA Pediatrics showed that annual ER visits relating to suicide for people between 5 to 18 years old rose from 2.2% to 3.5% from 2007 to 2015. Black and African American adults are also more likely to have feelings of sadness, hopelessness, and worthlessness than white American adults, according to Mental Health America. Henson herself is no stranger to mental health issues. The Empire star opened up to Variety about her experience with anxiety and depression back in April. quote, "I think there's a misconception with people in the limelight that we have it all together, and because we have money now and are living out our dreams, everything is fine," she told Variety. She admitted that the pressure of being on a hit TV series can be overwhelming. "I suffer from depression," she said. "My anxiety is kicking up even more every day, and I never really dealt with anxiety like that. It's something new." Yeah. So, anyway, like I was saying, I mean, I have to give her some credit for at least stepping forward, like Winnie Harlow stepped forward with the ultimate no makeup challenge from hell. Taraji P. Henson, even though I don't like a lot of the roles that she's played, and I don't know the bimbo personally, the fact that she stepped forward as a strong, educated, outspoken, independent black sister and admitted when she is about as close to any of that shit that these black females be talking about, as they wish they were. She can admit that she has mental problems that, she's dealt with, and that the black community is very mentally deranged, to the point where it's even passed down to our children just from the things they experience in these single mother households. I have to commend her for that. I give credit where it's due. It's about time somebody with a little pull has spoke up about this issue, because it's a sick issue that, we've been kind of hush hush about for the last several decades. I was just discussing with a brother over email, black people really have not been right since the end of the civil rights movement. We really haven't. And, it's time for us to start tackling many issues, poverty, crime, ratchetness, whoredom, drugs, but, our political loyalties, for those of you who still vote Democrat, but also our mental health, even our physical health. It's known that both male and female, but especially black men, we have the lowest life expectancy rate in the United States. And, that's just sad. Even a lot of black celebrities die well before their time. So yeah, guys, I just wanted to point out this article that I read, and it's about time, somebody came forward and admitted that, this is an issue in the black community. Everybody can see it. It's fucking obvious as hell. All this lunacy that goes on, that you see on World Star Hip Hop, across Facebook timeline posts, on Instagram. You have a female bragging about sucking dick, and then in the next picture she has her 3 little children, talking about, God bless me and my babies. It's a beautiful day. God got my back. I mean, it's obvious these motherfuckers, they're fucked up. So anyway, I just want to point that out. Thanks so much for listening. Stay tuned. I got a lot more, and talk to you later, guys.